welcome back to my channel. This is my very late review for the 14th episode of the final season of the 100, otherwise titled A Sort of Homecoming. So this was obviously not based on the book by Cass Morgan, but I mean that was never gonna happen because the book would have happened during season 1 or 2. What they did have in common was the meaning of the word homecoming, because we are finally back on Earth. As I said in my theory video and many other people guessed, while they were in Cryo and on Sanctum, Earth had enough time to recover and Gaia was there this whole time. So yes, Gaia is finally back and I'm so glad she's back. The plot of the episode was that Clarke crew was back on Earth and now they had to deal with the fact that Clarke killed Bellamy while trying to find the anomaly stone. Octavia also faced her demons as she returned to the bunker, and unfortunately Shadehetta followed them with the goal to kill Maddie. So we picked up right after Clarke decided to murder her best friend. She got out of that horrible green CGI and arrived with the others to Bloodreina's fighting pits in the bunker. So yes, we're finally back on Earth. The trailer spoiled this, but I was so happy about this. Clarke was crying, but before she could tell them that she killed Bellamy for no reason, we got even more proof that it was for no reason. Because Cadigan, who was back in his home for 2 years, although that didn't seem to matter to him, said that this place was perfect for them. Once again showing that he thinks that they're uncivilized, and maybe he does think that they destroyed his home, just like they destroy everything else they touch. But then he took some pill and after saying "May we meet again," he disappeared. So once again, it shows that the final scene of last episode was useless. But after the trash left, we finally had Gaia's return. It turns out that when the stone isn't working right, it sends them to their original planet, which for both her and the disciple would be Earth. I was kinda disappointed with the flashbacks. We got a whole episode for Bellamy and for Hope and Octavia, but Gaia had like a 1-minute scene. I did like when she said "I am no man" and then she killed the disciple. It turns out she was only on Earth for a few days, and that makes no sense. My theory was that Earth had recovered, and it did, but that was because I was assuming that due to time dilation, it had been way longer than we thought since McCrary destroyed Aiden. We knew time went faster on Bardo, but I thought maybe Sanctum did too and Monty was just wrong. But no, Gaia confirmed that she had only been there for a few days, just like the time that passed on Sanctum, which is still weird, but it explains why the plot moves so slowly this season. Now everyone left the bunker to look for Octavia, and we saw that the Earth had completely recovered and was all green. I know it's a stupid complaint, but this makes me miss how the show used to be, with the whole grounder culture, destroyed buildings, and fighting in the woods. I like the sci-fi aspect of the show, but seeing them back on Earth made me miss what the show used to be. We saw everyone reunited, but then Echo asked where Bellamy was. I thought that was a pretty weird question. She had already seen how he was now on Bardo, and if Bill wasn't with them, why would Bellamy beat her? But maybe she had hoped that they had turned him back to their side. So now Clarke told them in tears that she killed Bellamy. So this is something that I saw people had a problem with because of Echo and Octavia's reactions. I'll admit that after Blood Giant, I was expecting Octavia to go all Bloodreina on Clarke and eat her, but the truth is that the reaction made sense for her because of what they set up this season. I haven't been a fan of how little screen time Octavia had this season, and she didn't feel like herself, but her short storyline this season was about her getting past those dark times in the bunker, which she did with Diosa and Hope over those 10 years that they spent on penance, and during that time, she had already accepted that she would never see Bellamy again. She even told Clarke and the stranger that she understood her now because she had Hope, and just like Clarke would do anything for Maddie, Octavia would do anything for Hope, meaning if Hope was the key and they were in the same situation, Octavia would have done the same thing as Clarke. So her reaction made sense. But Echo is the one that felt kind of rushed. But from what we saw in the rest of the episode, I'm expecting something similar to Jasper's story for her, but that would also feel kind of rushed, because just like a day ago for her, she was about to commit genocide as revenge for killing the man she loved. Like Octavia, she also spent years without Bellamy, but it was clear she never got over him. She spent those years wanting to get back to him. Well, Octavia was the same at first, but then she accepted she would never see him again. So now are we just supposed to believe that just because Bellamy broke up with Echo a day ago, she finally got over him? Hopefully she was just trying to hide her pain by convincing herself he was already gone, and therefore it's Bill's fault that he died and not Clarke, so she better be the one to kill Bill. Anyway, the three of them had a group hug, and I like how it shows how much these women have changed from who they were in the earlier seasons, now that they've been brought together by their love for Bellamy. But the scene still could have been done better. It's obvious it was a rewrite thrown in quickly, but even the script they released was better, because at least there, Octavia said, "You go and play Steoda." Here, it just seemed like they wanted to forget Bellamy as quickly as possible. Then they went back in the bunker, and Murphy wanted to go back to Sanctum to take a shower. I love how he calls the stone the green magic orb. So now the others told them that they couldn't find the stone, but that's because the disciples didn't want them to leave, so they gave them bad helmets. Raven used her helmet and immediately found it directly beneath them, but then Clarke took the helmet, and I was guessing she would do what she did for a second, but I thought no, they wouldn't do that, but then she did. She destroyed the helmet. So in my video for the last episode, I said that I thought people were exaggerating when they said that they were pulling a Game of Thrones, but now I agree. And I was wrong in my last video. Our people are not the villains. Clarke is the villain. She's so focused on herself and the people that she cares about, which shows she went down the wrong road throughout the show, because that's how Bellamy was at the beginning while she wanted to save everyone. Now she's saying that everyone they care about is on Earth, but she's wrong. Everyone she cares about is on Earth. Maddie has her boyfriend and the other kids and Picasso. Memori have the Sanctimites, and Gabriel still thought the Cogs were alive. But Clarke doesn't think about that before ruining their one chance to escape. So unfortunately now we went back to jumping around planets, because it turns out that Bill went back to Sanctum and captured Malachi. But the weird thing here is that he was able to cure Malachi, but he decided to leave Bellamy to die. Really, Jason? Anyway, Bellamy died for nothing because Bill had the book, and now Malachi told him that Maddie made the drawings. But Bill was so stupid not to put Malachi in MCAP, because then he might have realized that he had the key right in front of him, but he doesn't seem to know that Malachi is one of the commanders. Bill tried to make a deal, and Malachi just wanted to stone destroy it and to rule over Sanctum, and then Bill explained what would happen after the last war. Now, this makes me think they're gonna try to redeem Malachi, because it's clear that he doesn't agree with Bill. He doesn't want to transcend, he wants to rule. He offered himself to be the one to go after Maddie, not just because he's been in her head, but as we saw later, to kill her so that the last war never begins, and then he won't have to transcend and lose his chance to rule the world. So then, for the first time in ages, we had the first big scene with Miller where he actually had dialogue, and it was even a shirtless scene with Jackson. I didn't expect either of those things to ever happen. Here, Miller was struggling with the fact that he had promised Bellamy he would forgive him, like Bellamy forgave him for what he did with Octavia, and now he would never get to do that. But the problem is that we never saw that happen. The scene would have been more emotional if they didn't always cut all of Miller's scenes, because they released the promo pic of Bellamy talking to Nyla and Miller, but then we never saw that. So why keep this scene if they had gotten rid of that one? I'm glad Miller got screen time, but it could have been done better. We also got drunk Nyla, which was one of the best parts of the episode, and it turns out she was hiding beer in Bill's office during the 6 years in the bunker. She took it out and tried to start a party, but Echo left, and Nyla should have let Gabriel go after her, because what Echo needed wasn't space. We already saw that what stopped her from grieving Bellamy last time was seeing that Raven cared about her. And we also haven't seen much of Gabriel with Hope and Echo recently, even though they spent years together, so if anyone could help her, it was him. Then we got Maddie dissing Clarke as Clarke was trying to go to bed by saying that she ruined her life, and she always makes decisions for everyone, and now she killed Bellamy for her, leaving her to deal with that. I'm glad Maddie called her out on this, and like I mentioned before, Clarke only thinks about herself because Maddie had her own people now on Sanctum. Then Maddie ran away and ended up in what they're apparently calling the rec room, but it's Bill's office. As I saw coming, they forced Hope and Jordan on us. This was obvious to me since they're talking to Stranger. I can kind of see them making them like the new Adam and Eve to start a new, better humanity, but it's still happening way too quickly, which Hope seemed to realize because she ran away as they were dancing, and Gabriel told Jordan to go after her. Drunk Nyla puked and then went off to see Echo, so now Maddie was left alone with Gabriel, who was playing the piano and offered to teach her. Meanwhile, Memori were talking to Raven, and just like Maddie, Murphy brought up that they still had people that they care about on Sanctum, and also the prisoners are from Earth, so he convinced Raven to fix the helmet, but his line about Bellamy manipulating her felt so out of place. If they wanted to say that, once again, they should have shown more flashbacks to their time on the ring. Then we had one of my favorite moments of the episode. For the past 2 years, we've been missing one of the best friendships on the show, Octavia and Indra. They were kind of replaced with Octavia and Diosa and Indra and Murphy, but now one of the best parts of the show is back, and I'm glad they're back together. Octavia was outside, still not going inside the bunker because of what she did. She was praying for Bellamy. They sat outside, and Indra said she hoped the war was over and asked Octavia why she still couldn't go back in the bunker, even though for her it's been 10 years since then. And then my favorite part was that unlike Abby, who just like her daughter was really stubborn and self-centered and never admitted she had a part in creating Bloodreina, Indra admitted that they were all Bloodreina. Finally, someone was there for Octavia and she didn't have to deal with it alone. It took 10 years, but at least it happened. Then, as I had always guessed, Gaia admitted that she used to be jealous of how much Indra cared about Octavia, and as Indra apologized, Malachi arrived through the wormhole, but he was invisible, although Indra could sense that someone was there. So I thought the close-ups of Malachi's face were ridiculous, and oh god, he looks terrible in the disciple suit. I remember I was hating on his new look before, but now I want it back. I love Bert Shayheda way more than this. Speaking of outfits, I forgot to mention that everyone else got new outfits this episode, and I love them, especially Gaia's. She really needed an upgrade, and she looks so badass now. I also love Echo's, and it looks like Octavia has a version of her Bloodreina outfit, but without the armor like in season 6. Now my only problem is that Clarke is still wearing the same thing. I said I liked her outfit, but now I see that it only looks good on Bardo because of the lighting. It looks ugly when they're outside on Earth, and she looks out of place, but I guess that fits with the storyline because she's been separated from everyone else for so long, and the only other person who's wearing such bland outfits like her is Maddie. Anyway, Octavia ran to tell Clarke that Maddie was in danger, and then she rushed off to look for her with Malachi behind them. So now we got another one of my favorite scenes, but this time with an unexpected pairing, as Nyla sat down to talk to Echo. Echo told her how her real name was Ash and that she never told Bellamy, but she wanted to every day, but she was a coward. Then Nyla gave her a bottle, and we finally got a backstory for Nyla. It turns out she was named after the Snow Queen, and her mom was Askeda, so that's why she lived out in the woods since her dad was Trikru, so no one from Trikru could see her mom's scars. This honestly makes her a really interesting character, and I'm sad we never got to see much of her. It kinda felt like too little too late. I'm thinking this might mean she's going to die soon and they're trying to get us attached to her, but I already liked her. But I kind of want her and Echo to be friends, or maybe something more. I just want a happy ending for Echo, but it's probably not gonna happen. Then Hope finally got to meet Murphy. I love how she brought up all the horrible stories she knew about him, and then Jordan got her, and Hope explained that she felt guilty that she was happy with him while Diosa was dead. He said that he felt the same way with Monty and Harper being dead. Then they started dancing awkwardly, but Clarke interrupted as she was looking for Maddie, and now she wanted to get out of there. Of course now she does, only when it benefits her. And then Hope stupidly told them that Maddie was in Bill's office, so Malachi locked them in there and went off to kill her. Gabriel was still teaching Maddie piano. She mentioned that it sounded familiar. That line was pretty interesting to me, but I couldn't figure out why it was important. But then I saw someone say that it might be the sounds that Becca heard when entering the code into the stone, which is what Bill wants. But then Malachi stabbed Gabriel and threw Maddie around, and then started giving his supervillain speech, which gave Maddie time to escape as Gabriel attacked him, saving Maddie, but Malachi killed him as a result. Maddie ran away and was yelling for help, and that scene was so weird when Indra said you, and then Malachi goes me, us. It's stupid, but I still feel like there's chemistry between them. But thankfully we got a fight scene between him, Gaia, and Indra, which I liked. My only problem, which is with all the fights in the show, is how slow it was. Like, I remember in season 4 when Echo saved them and I thought she was gonna be so badass when she got off her horse, but then she moved so slowly. But like I was saying, I loved the fight, but then they ruined the moment because right as Indra was about to kill Malachi for like the 20th time, for some reason she decided that she needed to declare that his fight was over, which gave him time to stab himself and teleport away. Like, who cares about your traditions, Indra? She's had the chance to kill him so many times and he always gets away because of how stupid she's been this season. Like I said before, it's character assassination. Back to Bill's office, everyone gathered around Gabriel and Hope tried to help him, but he refused. I saw people complaining about Gabriel's death and saying he deserved better, but unlike Bellamy, I disagree. This was the perfect way to wrap up his story. It's where his story was always heading. Since last season, we knew that he just wanted to die. He literally killed the other guy who brought him back in his body because he already wanted to die as the old man. Yes, he never got to finish exploring the anomaly, but he finally had a chance to die and he took it. And it makes it more emotional that he didn't know that the Cogs were all dead and he wanted to bring them home, but now he's going home to them. Also, I want to see how this is going to affect Hope because I could see her blaming herself since she's the one that said where Maddie was, which led Malachi to him. So now she got both Diosa and Gabriel killed. I do wish Echo had been there, since she's also the one that was close to him, but other than that, Octavia and Hope were there, and they all said, may we meet again, so it was a really good death, and I love how he said, la vida es la muerte. Now, my only problem with his death was Clarke, who was being so annoying and not respectful to the fact that a man was dying right in front of her. He literally saved her daughter and saved her last season, but all she cares about is checking on Maddie. That's fine, but at least be respectful. They should have been in another room, and Echo should have been there instead of them. Then while they weren't looking, Maddie ran away again, and now she seems suicidal. First she wanted to take the pills. I know they're used to teleport, but still, and then she stabbed herself with the teleporter. I don't agree that this means Gabriel died for nothing, because he still died saving her from being killed by Malachi. Malachi was not gonna take her to Bardo, he was gonna kill her, but since she did stab herself and went to Bardo, that does mean that Bellamy died for nothing. Finally, right out of nowhere, Bill sent a bomb, and the moment Miller picked it up, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna die too. That's why they gave him a scene. But he locked it behind the door and he was fine. But then the bomb still went off, and we were left wondering what happened to Nyla and Echo, who were in the other room. But most importantly, what happens to Memori, because they were thrown to opposite sides by the explosion. It was kinda dumb of Memori to go out there, and now based on the promo, it looks like Memori might die, which would be horrible. They were the only happy characters left. Overall, this pretty much felt like a filler episode. It was nice seeing Earth again, but other than Gaia being back and Octavia dealing with her demons, which didn't last that long, there really wasn't a reason for them to be on Earth. I loved the individual character moments like with Echo, Octavia, Nyla, and Miller, and the fact that Nyla and Miller finally got screen time. I think Jessica did a good job directing the episode, although it was weird that Nyla got the most development ever this episode. Usually it's the other way around. But other than the ending, there wasn't any big moments, and Bellamy's death was just brushed aside, which makes it obvious it was added last minute and they just wanted to get rid of him. Really, this episode was like the calm before the storm, or before the last war, and like I said, I expect Clarke to be the villain. This episode really showed how desperate she is to save Maddie, to the point where it's obsessive and toxic. Octavia said she understood her, but that's because she thinks Clarke did everything she could, which isn't what happened. Clarke just shot him in the heart. She could have shot him anywhere else, and he didn't have to die. Anyway, I think I would give this episode a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Leave your thoughts on the video and episode in the comments, and may we meet again. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.